Sponsored by the Ohio Senior Health Insurance Information Program.
Here it is. The news about the coronavirus. That's right. The news about the coronavirus.
The American Red Cross urgently needs blood and platelet donations and asks healthy donors to schedule an appointment to give during this coronavirus outbreak. Patients are counting on life-saving transfusions. Visit redcrossblood.org.
Good dad. It gave me a chance to think about the things that not only matter to me, but to everybody. It also gave me a better perspective on news. I spent a number of years in Cleveland and Cincinnati, and it's given me an opportunity to see every corner of the state. I want to empower our communities and redefine what a news channel can be.
Every morning, the people of Ohio have the opportunity to wake up and start fresh.
We want to be a different kind of news channel, putting storytelling and community first.
Well, it's really humbling to be invited to our neighbors' homes and help them plan their day.
Welcome to Your Morning News. I'm Sophia Constantine.
Let's take a look at your weather on the ones. We've got a large band of precipitation.
Your Morning News, weekday mornings on Spectrum News 1. Spectrum News 1, a new kind of news channel dedicated to refreshing storytelling and empowering communities across the Buckeye State. With your local forecast every 10 minutes and all of the essential news you need 24/7. Plus, in-depth shows and exclusives focused on your community. Always Ohio, always refreshing, always on. We are Spectrum News 1, exclusively on Spectrum.
Maybe I'll run for president, maybe I won't, but I will tell you that I'm not going to go away.
I don't think Michigan can become the Michigan of old.
We're probably the first professional sports team in the world that was built by the fans.
We're the biggest ice cream shipper in the nation, setting the standard for numeric and ice cream.
I get to live my dream. I mean, what could I ask for?
Conversations, Sunday and Tuesday night at 9 on Spectrum News 1, exclusively on Spectrum. It's 10 o'clock. Have questions about COVID-19? Visit coronavirus.ohio.gov.
Hello, thank you for joining us here on Spectrum News 1. I'm Curtis Jackson. We've got a lot to get to regarding the coronavirus pandemic. We want to make sure you have the latest information, so here's what we know tonight. The CDC says there are just over 395,000 cases of coronavirus in our country, including nearly 13,000 deaths. In Ohio, the health department says there are just over 5,000 confirmed cases with 193 deaths as of right now. President Trump says tens of thousands of ventilators are being built, and those not used immediately will be kept in the national stockpile. He says millions of N95 masks are being made to send to hotspots like New York, Chicago, New Orleans, and Detroit. And Governor DeWine says coronavirus has entered our state prison system. A corrections officer from the Mansfield area has died of complications related to the disease.
All right, 10:01 as we continue to monitor the threat for severe thunderstorms here. A tornado watch remains in effect in southwest and south central Ohio. That includes Chillicothe to Portsmouth and westward toward Dayton and Cincinnati. We do not have any tornado warnings, but we do have severe thunderstorm warnings in effect, and those including Butler, Preble County into western Montgomery County, and then down south now toward Hamilton County. I'll show you that a little closer here as we watch these storms push in. And you can see a very intense line here of thunderstorms. Here's the warnings that we have out at last check. Severe thunderstorm warning including Montgomery and Preble County and Butler County. That goes until 10:45, includes nearly 250,000. And then down towards Cincinnati and the Cincinnati metro, that's over 400,000 people. under that warning there in Hamilton County and several other counties to the south and west. So let's talk about the most interesting or most dangerous cell that we have on the radar right now, and is that one that is coming into Preble County. There's a live sweep and what appears to be a little bit of a hook to it. Now, we have picked up some rotation with this cell, but it's fairly broad rotation at this point, so we don't see that basically becoming tornadic. Now, as I'm looking, we just got a new severe thunderstorm warning. That's coming down into Warren County. Here, I'll show you that more here in a minute, but the Lebanon, Waynesville now, you just went under severe thunderstorm warning. We talked about in the last 10 minutes about how these cells are popping up out ahead of this main line, and that is of some concern. Look how that developed there. All right, let's talk about the track of this one that has some rotation with it. Eden, 3 minutes now before that moves in. Gratis in about 9 minutes. Germantown, 17. And then that should come into the Dayton metro area in just about 25 minutes. Miami Township, 23 minutes. Beaver Creek, that holds together in about 33 minutes. Xenia, about 40 minutes. So this is moving fairly quickly. So let's go farther to the south. There's that severe thunderstorm warning here. That includes Lebanon for this cell. See how the lightning kind of popped up on that? And there's another severe thunderstorm warning. These are popping up out ahead of it. So that's now eastern Clermont County into Brown County. That looks like western Highland County now under a severe thunderstorm warning. So these cells popping out, and that's what concerns me. You get these cells that pop out ahead of the main line. Sometimes they can rotate a little bit quicker, so we'll have to watch these. But this is where we have the damaging wind threat that's headed over towards Cincinnati. So we'll put the track on that. Oxford, 9:59. Hamilton, 10:14. Colerain at 10:20. There's Cincinnati, about 10:31. So that time has sped up a little bit. And then Covington, 10:36. Union at 10:46. We're going to continue to watch these thunderstorms. Obviously very active here. Multiple warnings out. We've got expanded weather coverage. We will keep you up to date. Another update here on the Ones and Minutes.
As Ohio approaches the 200 mark for deaths in our state, Dr. Amy Acton says that fatalities are going to start to feel more personal. We have learned that a correctional officer has died of coronavirus, with many more at the prison infected. State House reporter Molly Martinez brings us the details and the new donation that could be a game changer for those on the front lines.
I'm Molly Martinez at the State House, where Wednesday Governor Mike DeWine began his press conference with some sad news. He says a correctional officer at the Marion Correctional Institute has died of COVID-19. According to prison personnel, it was John Dawson. He was in his 50s and he had underlying health conditions. There are dozens more infected at that location, which is now on complete lockdown. The other big news of the day deals with PPE.
Every mask is precious. Do not throw one away. We now have the ability in Ohio to use that mask up to 20 times.
For those on the front lines, access to personal protective equipment is a matter of life and death. Medical-grade masks can block out infectious particles, and when worn by someone sick, can contain what gets put into the air. But since this outbreak, there hasn't been nearly enough to go around. Two companies are pitching in to fill the shortage. One is Battelle, who could sterilize and recycle hundreds of thousands of masks a day. The other is Apple, who Wednesday announced a huge donation.
100,000 of the N95 masks. So we will be getting those out to our frontline health workers. We thank Apple. We thank Tim Cook. Thank the entire Apple family. Those 100,000, I can guarantee you, will be well used here in the state of Ohio, and we are very, very grateful.
PPE is just one line of defense. Social distancing has proven to be our best strategy. Due to early intervention like school closings and barrings of mass gatherings, while the epicenter, New York, is reporting over 4,000 deaths, Ohio is just shy of 200.
The good news is that thanks to the wisdom and decisive action of the Governor DeWine, Ohio's in a much better place today than we thought it would be. We have not experienced the catastrophic scenarios that we surely would have if those actions hadn't taken place.
But the question still remains, when will life return to normal? Lieutenant Governor John Husted says, not for a while.
And we can't open things up and put more people in jeopardy until we have the protective equipment that will give them a sense of comfort and a sense of protection that they really deserve as they're out there working and trying to serve all of us.
Today, Dr. Amy Acton showed us some modeling, and she says the reason Ohio is doing so well is because we have been social distancing, and we cannot let up now. She says the second we take our foot off the gas, we could see another huge outbreak here in the state. So she says, keep doing what you're doing. It's saving lives. At the State House, Molly Martinez, Spectrum News.
Today is the first night of Passover for the Jewish community. It's usually meant for large gatherings at Seder dinners with loved ones, but this year, people will be observing the holiday virtually. Members of the Jewish community say while it will definitely be different than what everyone is used to, they're looking at the positives.
People from all over the country that, traditionally you kind of have to choose. You have to pick families or, prioritize whoever's closest, and now you can incorporate people from all over the world, which is going to be really, really fun.
Let's do the holiday the way we need to do it this year so that we can do it for many more years to come the way we had become accustomed to.
The Stonewall Pride Parade in Columbus is getting pushed back to the fall because of the coronavirus. The original date was in the middle of June and has been rescheduled for October 3rd. The executive director writing in a letter saying, as we work to navigate through the COVID-19 outbreak, our number one priority is the well-being and safety of our community. Therefore, we have made the decision to postpone this year's Pride Parade and Festival. The new date for the parade is Saturday, October 3rd, 2020. Miami County is now reporting 14 deaths from the coronavirus. The county health department reported the 2 latest victims today. One of them is associated with the nursing home outbreak. So far, 12 people have died from that outbreak that started at Kessler Pavilion and then spread to nearby Springmead Nursing Home. Overall, there are 107 positive cases reported in Miami County alone. With personal protective gear in high demand and scarce supply levels, students at Sinclair Community College are stitching up hundreds of masks to help. Theater students from Sinclair are sewing cloth masks and distributing them to local organizations, healthcare providers, and essential workers. All the students are working from home, sewing as many masks as they can. Some of the organizations they've already donated masks to include the Dayton Fire Department and Miami Valley Hospital. Sinclair President Stephen Johnson praised the students in a statement saying, "I'm extremely proud of our students for initiating this effort and working together to fight this pandemic. The project our students are working on is not only aligned with the work they are expected to do in the theater program, but also an incredible effort in meeting a critical need in our community." Johnson says Sinclair's goal is to help flatten the curve while keeping the Sinclair students and community safe. You can use the hashtag OneOhio with your videos, images, or notes in your social media posts, and we could share them right here on Spectrum News 1.
Chief Meteorologist Eric Kell. We're just about 10 minutes here after the hour as we monitor severe thunderstorms in what is a very active night now across southwestern Ohio. I want to show you the number of severe thunderstorm warnings that we have out here around Cincinnati. They include Brown and Highland County. We also have Butler, Warren County into western Montgomery County, and then back down into Hamilton County, as well as Butler and Brown County under severe thunderstorm warnings at least until 10:45. Some of the warnings, Butler and Warren, out till 11 o'clock, and this is because of the fact that we have had hail being reported with storms that are developing out ahead of this main line. So that is the issue. Take a look here at live radar, and you can see that it is very impressive here across the southwest from, say, Eaton, Greenville, southwestward now, back into the Lebanon area where these cells had popped out ahead of the main line and became hail producers. We've had reports of hail down in and around Lebanon, eastern Hamilton County, but this is a very impressive line here from Eaton to Summers. This is where the damaging wind threat is at this point. So that is the concern here. Look at all the lightning strikes as well with this. One thing I want to show you here, and let me get rid of this storm track, is you can almost pick out a little bit of a circulation there. It was a little bit more prevalent when it was south of Richmond there, south of I-75. It doesn't show up quite as much right now, but still seeing it a little bit. what I want to go do is I'm going to kind of pull up the velocity of this. I want to go to the latest frame and see if we're seeing much rotation. I don't really see much rotation, but what I do see are some intense winds here down around Summers. Wind gusts being measured on radar now up over 50 miles per hour. You can see they're around 54 miles per hour on the south side of that line. As you go south of there into the Lebanon area, this is where we're concerned with hail. And just do the hail tracker here. It doesn't show much hail right now. There it is, popped up there near Deerfield. And then another cluster of some hail there between Cincinnati and Colerain. So those are hail-producing storms. And we'll put that into motion. You can see what's happening here is that you get this line that's coming in from west to east, and these cells bubbling up out ahead of it and moving southwest to northeast, kind of out ahead of that line. So this is not only a worry for severe weather, but also some flash flooding concerns as well. Cincinnati, you're kind of under the gun as well. You've got storms off to the north side of downtown, and then approaching from the west, you're being surrounded as these storms push in your direction. And you can kind of see the track there. Let me see if I can move this here a little bit more here to the right and get you up to date on the latest timing. Hamilton here 10:16, Westchester 10:27, Cincinnati about 10:33, and then coming in toward Batavia about 10:54. Let's see, there's a new tornado warning that just popped up just south of Cincinnati. Does not include Ohio, so we'll watch that. I want to show you some of the cameras here. Look at this camera, see if I can take that full here. It looks like we've had some lightning strikes here. This is looking toward downtown Cincinnati. We'll keep an eye on our cameras and an eye on the radar. We'll be back in about 7 minutes with another live update. Stay with us.
Still ahead, several states will be in the national spotlight as Senate seats are chosen. How the outcomes could affect the rest of the country. But before we head to the break, here are some of the people doing their part to stay home and stay safe. All part of the governor's initiative In This Together, Ohio.
We've always been Ohio strong. And now, we need that strength more than ever. It's up to all of us to stay home, stay positive, and stay healthy. And even though right now we can't gather together, in Ohio, we will always stand together.
Who's most at risk for coronavirus? People over 65, people with underlying medical conditions like heart disease, chronic lung disease, asthma, diabetes, people undergoing cancer treatment, and people with weakened immune systems. What should you do if you or a loved one is at higher risk? Avoid close contact with people, avoid crowds, stay home if you can, wash your hands frequently, learn more ways to protect yourself and others at coronavirus.gov.
Hi, it's Jan from Toyota. As part of your community, we're here to help you during these challenging times.
If you need service, Toyota Service Centers are open for you with online scheduling, no contact drop-off, and extra care in the handling of all vehicles. If you need a new vehicle, Toyota is offering to defer payments for 90 days with no cost maintenance included, and home delivery may be available.
We're here for you. Contact your local Toyota dealer to see how they can help. Toyota.
Your participation in the 2020 census determines how to allocate billions of dollars of federal funding. Your answers and personal information are strictly confidential. They help fund schools and education, accessibility, healthcare and first responders, affordable housing, and more. Complete the census in multiple languages, online, by mail, or on the phone. Go to 2020census.gov for information. Brought to you by these organizations.
24/7. Plus, in-depth shows and exclusives focused on your community. Always Ohio, always refreshing, always on. We are Spectrum News 1, exclusively on Spectrum.
Weather and the sky has always fascinated me, and I live with what I do. I come home, look at the weather forecast, and it's really a part of my life. It's not just a job, it is my passion. I'm Chief Meteorologist Eric Elwell. We have a very experienced weather team. We know what's important to Ohioans as they make their plans every day because we are part of the community. I'm Eric Elwell, Chief Meteorologist, Spectrum News 1.
National elections are now just 7 months away, and new predictions anticipate Senate races leaning more towards Democratic victories than previously expected. M. Nguyen has more now from Washington.
Analysts now have Democrats edging ahead in Senate races in North Carolina, Maine, Colorado, New Hampshire, and Arizona. Kyle Kondik, managing editor of Sapato's Crystal Ball, says these races are getting more competitive in large part because of impressive Democratic challengers and solid fundraising, such as in Arizona's Senate race.
Mark Kelly, the likely Democratic nominee, has seemed like a pretty strong candidate throughout the whole election cycle here. He's been continually outraising Martha McSally, the appointed Republican senator. That's not to say McSally's fundraising has been bad. It's just that Kelly's has really been pretty dramatically good.
Whether tipping from a Republican tilt to a toss-up like in North Carolina, or a toss-up to a likely Democratic win like in Arizona, the changes in these 5 states could have a national effect. Now, Republicans are on their back foot defending 10 of the 12 most competitive Senate seats in the country.
I think that the race for overall control of the Senate is maybe not quite a toss-up. Maybe the Republicans are still a little bit favored, but overall it looks like the Senate majority is really in play. Overall, things have gotten a little bit better for Democrats over the course of the cycle.
Democrats need to win 4 seats for an outright majority, or win 3 Senate seats and the White House because the vice president serves as a tiebreaker. Kondik says the current state of the economy could spell trouble for Republicans.
These are things that might break against the Republicans, although we just don't know. There's also possible that things may look pretty bleak through the spring and the summer, but maybe things will bounce back in time for the Republicans to regain the initiative in the fall.
Reporting in Washington, M. Nguyen, Spectrum News.
Ohioans aren't leaving their homes these days. How songwriting helped one family through the process, and now their song is encouraging others to do the right thing and stay home.
Our communities need local businesses to keep them thriving. Spectrum Reach and Waymark have partnered to help by offering a free commercial for small businesses. Go to SpectrumReach.com to learn more. Use your free video anywhere, like your website, social, or on TV, to tell your customers how they can support your business during this challenging time. And if you choose to use it to advertise with us, we will give you 20% off your first campaign. On behalf of Spectrum Reach and Waymark, thank you. Together, we will rebound.
Because it's the real story of us. It's the real story of community. I'm Mary Lee Melendez, anchor reporter, Spectrum News 1.
Weather in Ohio is changing all the time.
We get winter one day and 60s the next. At Spectrum News 1, our goal is refreshingly simple.
We bring you an accurate, reliable, and local forecast every 10 minutes.
We have an incredible, experienced team of people.
We don't just know about the weather, we know about Ohio.
You never have to wait for your forecast with your Weather on the Ones.
Weather on the Ones, every 10 minutes, exclusively on Spectrum. Spectrum News 1, a new kind of news channel dedicated to refreshing storytelling and empowering communities across the Buckeye State. With your local forecast every 10 minutes and all of the essential news you need 24/7. Plus, in-depth shows and exclusives focused on your community. Always Ohio, always refreshing, always on. We are Spectrum News 1, exclusively on Spectrum.
Maybe I'll run for president, maybe I won't, but I will tell you that I'm not going to go away.
I don't think Michigan can become the Michigan of old.
We're probably the first professional sports team in the world that was built by the fans.
We're the biggest ice cream shipper in the nation, setting the standard for American ice cream.
I get to live my dream. I mean, what could I ask for?
Conversations, Sunday and Tuesday night at 9 on Spectrum News 1, exclusively on Spectrum.
Minutes here after 10 o'clock as we are still monitoring severe thunderstorms. We're getting numerous severe weather reports in now in and around the Cincinnati area, and numerous severe thunderstorm warnings coming out. And you can see that we've got quite a few from Dayton down to Cincinnati, basically that whole I-75 corridor under a severe thunderstorm warning. Just in the last few minutes, we had a report from amateur radio operators of near Woodlawn, Ohio, which is north side of Cincinnati, just inside of 275, of $half-dollar size hail falling from the ground, or falling from the sky to the ground. So severe thunderstorm warnings obviously continuing there. We'll go right over and show you the active warnings. We've got so many. I invite you to please keep an eye at the bottom of your screen as we get new warnings in, because they're coming in fast. We've got the new severe thunderstorm warning here that's including Hillsboro, as this cell here south of Hillsboro, I'll zoom in that here in just a moment, is very, very intense. This cell here between South Lebanon and Lebanon could be producing dime to nickel size hail. This is tracking up northward along I-71. But this cell right here, this is what has been producing $half-dollar size hail as it moved between Reading and Woodlawn, headed up toward Deerfield. Look at the lightning increase with that near Sims as well. So that's heading up into southern Warren County. Very large hail. Looks like you see the pink there kind of dropped out. It may have dropped all that hail and could be regenerating there. Look at this cell. This one is, here's Hillsboro, Ohio, southwestern Highland County. This cell intensifying where you see the purple, that's likely hail cores that have developed, and that's shifting into Highland County as well. So we're monitoring these cells out ahead of the main line. Of course, the main line is where we're getting very intense winds. We did get a report here near Eaton, Ohio, of about dime-size hail that fell there a little while ago. Severe thunderstorm warnings have been extended now into Greene County from Montgomery County, and so now we've got severe thunderstorm warnings farther to the east. Dayton arriving here at 10:26, so about 2 minutes from now. Kettering 10:27, Beaver Creek 10:33, Wright Pat at the air base there at 10:36, Mad River at 10:43, and then Springfield coming up here at 10:51 as that all kind of merges together. I think this is the biggest issue here in Cincinnati. Just a light show in the Queen City right now. Look at all the lightning here. There's the very intense cells, 60-mile-an-hour winds, possibly moving east here. Here's the track, Cincinnati arriving here in just 2 minutes. The main brunt of that cell, Covington at 10:34 there at the airport. Anderson at 10:40, headed over toward Batavia at 10:50. So this cell's moving pretty quick. We're tracking at about 50 miles per hour as it moves off here to the east. So that's going to be the issue here. See if we can move this forward. And you can see kind of the line. Now, the good news is this circulation that we saw earlier, that has kind of gone away. Likely the inflow knocked out by these thunderstorms developing here. So this is more of a heavy rain and strong wind threat. Where we have the tornado threat is down here to the south. You see there is one tornado warning just south of Hamilton County there. So we're watching that cell. There is rotation with that cell south of Cincinnati as it pushes off to the east. I want to show you some of our live cameras here. This is all around Cincinnati, and you can see that right now it looks fairly calm, but from what I've been told by some of our reporters in the Cincinnati area, it is quite the light show. Our cameras update every couple of seconds there, so it's kind of hard to pick out the lightning. But we'll continue to follow these storms here. Another live update coming up here in about 5 minutes as we track these storms. Stay with us.